Hey everybody, my name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast. Today I'm really excited. I've got two special guests, Gordon and Maria, on the show, Maria, and I'm excited that they're on this on my episode because they have created something. And in my life, I look back at all the times where someone has put something out into the world and it's helped me. I mean, it could be as simple as yesterday I was changing my wife's brakes on her car. I'd never changed the brakes on her car. And I Googled it, and I found a YouTube video, and it was the exact model. And the guy gave me the exact, the size of tools I needed and the process, and just made life so much easier. And, Gordon and Maria, you guys have put something out into the world that's truly going to help. And so I just want to hear the journey of how that happened, why you picked the book that you picked. So, Gordon, why don't you tell me a little bit about the book, why you decided to write a book, and then Maria will talk about the artistic side of that.
Okay. I'm a former canine handler as a police officer. And a lot of times as canine handlers, we bring our dogs into schools to do canine demonstrations. But for the young children who can't really understand all the things we do as police officers and probably shouldn't hear some of the things we do, I just usually lay my dog at their feet and read a story to them. And there were some cute stories, but there wasn't really anything that was personal to me as part of what I did for a living. Right. And so I got the idea to write it. And so that's why I decided to write a story about an unwanted puppy who overcomes adversity to become a police dog. And it's going to be a series, so this was just book one. But as soon as I got the idea, I called up my niece, Maria, who's just an absolutely amazing artist. And I said, hey, Maria, how do you feel about illustrating a book that I'm going to write? And she was like, yeah. So from that point on, we got to work immediately. There was constant meetings over the span of just shy of a year to get this first book to be published. And not only was she the artist behind it, but she did 100% of the getting it to publishing, all the computer issues and getting it ready for upload and all that type of stuff. She had to figure out how to do it and do it. So that's part of why it took a little while for our first book. Our next book, she knows what to do now. So kind of like you watched the video on how to do it.
Right.
She was watching videos on how on earth do we do this thing? How do we format it? And all that stuff.
Maria, where did you learn to be an artist? Is it something you've always wanted to do? Do you do it professionally, or is this something you've kind of done on the side?
I do it professionally, actually. It is something that I've been passionate about my whole life. But I actually recently graduated from college, and I'm a graphic design artist.
Awesome.
But thankfully, during the process of this book, I was taking a class that was really all about finding your style as an illustrator and that type of deal. So I had that as a really good backing to do this. And then I did a lot of research, looking through different children's books and seeing kind of what styles they tend to lean towards, because I mostly do realism in artwork. So this is a little out of my comfort zone, but I found that after taking a class and then doing a bunch of research, it was really helpful.
Awesome. What do you think why did you pick, other than Gordon asking you, why this artistic output versus something else? Do you have a passion towards kids? Like where did that part come from?
I would say I have a passion for dogs, and I do have a very young niece and nephew, so this was a really fun thing for me to do. They love the book, and it's really cool seeing them love something that I created.
That's awesome. And Gordon, obviously this is extremely different than being a cop fighting bad guys. So tell me about, because you're semi-retired now, you did a longer career. Tell me about that transition from, a police officer, a K-9, to wanting to be an author for a kid's book. Because this is this podcast is mostly for guys. And I think that in general, we spend a lot of our time consuming. We go to work and we're not producing things that are going out into the world. We're just going doing the 9 to 5. Where did that switch happen for you, where you decided I'm going to put something outside of my, my career, my normal profession into the world? What was that process look like?
Well, you and I have known each other for a long time. So, I always have like 20 different things going on at the same time. I like to stay busy and do things, but specifically to what you're talking about, I used to be the kind of person that was like, I really want to do this one day. Right. And I just say that for years.
Right.
And it actually started with bagpipes. I had always said, one day I'd really love to learn how to play those. And then finally I'm like, why do I keep doing this? I keep saying I want to do it, and then I never do it. So I just buckled down and said, I'm going to do it. So that started with learning the bagpipes. And then when the book came, I've always wanted to write a book. Never thought it would be a children's book. I figured it would be either on theology, my other love, right, or a fictional cop story.
Right.
And then someone actually suggested, after seeing one of Maria's drawings, they said, well, you need to write a children's book and have her illustrate it. And I was like, it was like a lightning bolt hit me.
Right.
And it was from then on, I'm not putting this off. I flipped that switch to, I need to start. When I want to do something, I just need to do it now, instead of putting it off.
That's awesome. So for both of you guys, whoever wants to answer this, what was the discipline that it took to write this? Did you treat this as a job, or you're like, hey, I'm going to commit an hour every day to doing this? Like, how do you take someone who says, it could be anything, like bagpipes or write a children's book or, I don't know, build a chicken coop, whatever it is. How did you stay disciplined to make that happen? Like, what was the process of day-to-day work?
I don't know how it was. I think you and I were on the same sheet, Maria, where we had to we'd set meetings with each other. Right. Hey, are you off next Wednesday? Yeah. Okay, let's get together and work on it.
So most of the work where you guys were sitting next to each other and you were drawing and he was, coming up with the plot or the story.
Right. I'd write the story and give it to her, and then she'd come up. Most of the ideas for the illustrations are hers.
Gotcha.
Like, for instance, the one we love pointing out to the kids after we read the story is the picture. It's an aerial shot of Worf lost in the woods.
Gotcha.
And that was all Maria. She called me up and said, hey, I've got an idea for what I want to do where Worf is lost. I want to do it like it's shot from the sky, looking down at him.
Like this?
Through the treetops. Yes.
That's it.
And I immediately pictured that in my head, and I thought, that is perfect. And the next day she sent it to me. So she went right to work on it. And it was exactly how I pictured it in my mind. And it just shows how lonely he is and lost. And that was her through the whole book.
That's awesome. What is say someone like, hey, this is cool. I have, you've got a guy who's a construction worker and he wants to read a book to his kids that he wrote. What does that process look like? Obviously it took you a year. So it's probably not going to happen over a weekend. But what is the process of, and I know there's probably lots of minutia, but in general, because you guys are everywhere. You're on Amazon. Like, I ordered this on Amazon. I think I was pretty close to the first person to order it. I don't know if I won that award, but you put a link and I clicked on it and I found it pretty quickly. What does that process look like if someone says, yeah, man, that is cool, I want to write a children's book or maybe a book in general? What's the process look like?
It was honestly a lot harder to do than we thought it would be for the first time around. Self-publishing, I don't know, I guess that is just hard in itself, but I feel like it was hard to find a clear answer about certain things. So I think it took us about a month to actually get it uploaded once I had finished all the drawings, because we were like, okay, there's some limits here that we didn't know about. And now we're having to kind of rework around Amazon's guidelines.
Gotcha.
But with that, Amazon made it really easy for us to just kind of put it there and have people get it instead of us having to order a mass amount and then keep track of inventory and that sort of thing.
So these are like almost like, are these print on demand kind of like when I clicked buy, somewhere printed it and then sent it to me, or you don't have a warehouse right now full of books?
No, we have a bunch here that we can buy through the authors portal.
Gotcha.
Like we're going to go read to a school today, so we're going to bring books with us.
Oh, awesome.
But then people can also, the order online. It's exactly what you said. We didn't have to buy a billion books ahead of time and cost us a lot of money. It's when you order it, Amazon prints it and ships it to you. It's their setup is amazing because some people get theirs in a couple of days. Yeah, that's just amazing.
That is amazing. And so promoting the book, so is this a labor of love? Or I'm sure this is a labor of love. Is this also like, hey, this could be a business. Like this could be something that we actually make money with? Or are you guys going at, because you're going to go talk to a school today. I'm assuming you're probably not getting paid to go to the school today. I've done the firefighter talk at schools and I've never been paid. Where does this fall for you guys?
Well, actually, it's funny you bring that up because we did a big event. I think you might have seen it where we were on Channel 4 News. Covered there. We did a big canine demonstration and Maria and I read the book and a bunch of the kids bought the books. But they asked us, what is your author fee? And I was like, what are you talking about, right. Author fee? Well, yeah, authors come here and they charge us. I'm like, what? No, we're not charging you. We want to read the kids. Right, it was all about, there was a bunch of them buying books. It's like, and we're going to charge you on top of that. So I would say, for me anyway, it's more of a labor of love, getting to go and read the kids.
I would agree, definitely.
Awesome. And so tell me, let's talk about the book. What is the moral of the story? And obviously this is story one. You said there's more to come, but what is the, if a guy's listening to this podcast and is like, I'd love to read a good, wholesome book about this. So tell me, what's the moral of the story without giving away the whole plot?
Well, this first book, each one, except for we have 3 storylines down. The 4th one we have an idea for, but we haven't worked it out yet. But this first one is called The Journey Begins. So you find out how Worf he kind of gets given to this kid who wants nothing to do with him. Right. And so because of that, he gets lost, ends up in a shelter. And just everywhere he goes, he's struggling with people treating him bad. He makes it further down the road and other people are treating him bad. And so he has to get past all of that. And then obviously win in the end. We want there to be a positive message. The message of this one, actually on my Worf is named after my second canine that I work patrol with. And on his trading cards was the motto, Worf says, no matter what, do what is right. And so that is the central message of this book. Book 2 that we're actually working on right now, before we joined you here, is called Finding Forgiveness. And so that will be the message for that one, is how we have to get past people mistreating us and forgive them for it. And so I'm probably more excited about the second book than I was this first one, as excited as I am about it.
And do you have an idea what the third one's going to be, or just that there will be a third one?
The third one, that was going to say, I don't know if there's necessarily a moral to that one. The third one, Worf and Officer McRae go to Scotland.
Okay.
And on vacation and find themselves everywhere they go, they end up having to work. Someone steals. My family has a castle in Scotland and there's antique bagpipes there. So someone's going to steal them. Gotcha. And Worf tracks the bad guy down. And then he goes to a farm and has to find a lost Highland cow. And so you're going to learn about Scotland.
Oh, very cool.
And then while they're on vacation.
Now, Worf was a real dog. I met Worf. Was Worf from a shelter? Is that real?
No, that's some of the stuff is made up and some of it is real. Worf came from the country of Holland.
Gotcha. I figured he probably was purebred. You knew where he came
from. He was
a
lot more expensive than a shelter dog.
Yeah. And then Officer McRae, is that somebody that inspired you in the police force, or was that a conglomeration of people?
No, McRae is actually our Scottish family name.
Oh, Awesome.
So that's where I took that from.
Very cool. So, you guys got the book together, and how did it work with like family relationships? Because this can be hard, right? You have two different opinions. Any advice on someone who's doing something creative with a family, whether it's starting a business or, writing a children's book? How do you two work together and make sure that you're not, going at it? Maybe, you like one thing, they don't like the other. How do you solve those problems? What does that look like?
I have the best piece of advice I could give. Have Maria do it with you. She was the absolute best to work with. I don't ever remember fighting over anything. If I had an idea for something, there were a ton of times her idea was better, and I want it to be good, right?
Right.
So I don't care if you've got the better idea. We're going with what you say.
Awesome.
So we had an absolute blast. It was a ton of work. But we had fun doing it. We got to hang out with each other all the time. Like we're hanging out right now all day, even though we don't read till 2.
Right.
She was working on drawings for book 2, and I was doing some other book stuff. So we just like hanging out with each other. So find someone that you really like being around.
That's
awesome.
Go ahead.
I feel like as an artist, it's really important to take the author's opinion of how things should be into consideration.
Right.
Because this is their story. I want it to be as much as like what they're envisioning to, and still give my creative input and stuff. But I would never argue about something that.
Well, you can argue with him. Okay, I know he's much bigger than you, but it's okay. You can argue with him just a little bit. Push back. So you got to push back a little bit. It's okay.
Most of our time was spent joking about putting things that we could never put into, a kid's book, like Timmy, the rotten kid at the beginning. We talk about having Worf go and bite him.
Right.
And
he probably deserved it.
Yeah, he would deserve it. But stuff like I would ask Murad, say, hey, just stupid things I want to put in, like, in one of the first panels, that might be the very first one, where you meet little Timmy, the rotten kid, his phone is on the ground, and it says the time on the phone says 3:55. Well, that's my badge number from Dearborn.
Oh, that's cool.
So we put little Easter eggs like that in. And then like we dedicated the book to my mom, it says 499 at the beginning. That's what Maria called her. That was her grandmother's name, was Nai. And Maria put it in my mom's handwriting.
Oh, that's
she was able
really
to
cool.
get a sample of it. And then Worf is standing in a field of daisies, because that was my mom's favorite flower. So any of these things that we talk about, or she was so good about putting in there. The panel, if you remember, Danny, of Worf and McCrae in the police car, and Worf puts his paw up on McCrae's shoulder because he's nervous,
right.
and Worf his paw up there. That was a real, that happened to me with my first dog, Deacon.
That's awesome.
And so I told Maria, hey, Maria, I really want this in the book. And she made it happen. So she never, if I wanted something, she did it. No, there was no arguing. Now, I might have had to punch her in the face a couple of times. No, I'm just kidding. No, she was great to work with.
Awesome. Well, that's cool. It's funny. I've called you Gordon, but I wanted to tell a story. I call you Ted. I've known your wife. She was my baby. She's known me as long as I've been alive. So you married Angie, and you were Ted. Well, I was working, and one of our canine police officers, we were on a scene together, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, I was at some training. I had to leave training." I'm like, "Oh, you guys do training together?" She's like, "Yeah, all the canine officers get together." I'm like, "Do you do any work with Dearborn?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, my buddy Ted." And she's like, "I don't know a Ted." I'm like, "No, a Ted. He's really tall. He's like 6'7", which you can't tell with Ted sitting down. How tall are you?
6'8".
6'8". I got it wrong. He's 6'8". He's huge. And he's like, he's got a dog named Worf. And you spoke Klingon to your dog, right? The commands were Klingon, because you didn't want like a bad guy to say stop, because then he might stop because he understands English. So you spoke to him in Klingon. So very detailed. And she's like, "I know a Gordon, but I don't know a Ted." I'm like, "Wait, you know a guy that has a dog named Worf that speaks Klingon and is 6'8", but his name is not Ted?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "What are the odds of that?" Come to find out, I guess your actual name is Gordon, and your wife just calls you by the wrong name.
Yeah. Well, and Maria calls me that too, Uncle Ted.
Okay.
Yes, Uncle Ted. Ted to everyone in the immediate family.
Right.
Well, then
anyone who's known me since I was a kid.
Gotcha. Well, I feel honored that I'm in the Ted family. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to answer? Any questions?
Anything for you, Maria?
Yeah, I don't know.
I know you had really good questions.
So if guys out there listening or ladies out there listening, where can they, obviously we talked about Amazon. Is there anywhere else that you would like them to purchase your book from?
There is a bookstore in Linden called Beloved Books that has it for sale. We just started, like I said, with getting it published in just before Christmas. So we're working on getting it in different stores. It's actually, I'm the most excited probably about not Amazon, not Beloved Books, but it's for sale at La Puma's, the Coney place in downtown Rochester.
Well, there you go. That's
I've been going
awesome.
there since I was a kid. So when the owner said, "Hey, I want to sell them here," I was like, "Get out of here."
That's awesome. So guys, you're listening to this, pick up a book. It is The Adventures of Officer McCrae and K9 Wharf. It's great. Your kids will love it. If you're interested in being creative, I would encourage you, like Ted said, Gordon, just do it, right? Do something today. Incorporate your family. I've built some things with my kids, and while that might be frustrating a little bit, it's so important to bring your family together, make the world a better place. We consume a significant amount of data and information, and we're just, which is good. It's awesome. I fix my wife's brakes, but put something out there. You have the ability to put something out into the world to make a difference. And Ted and Maria, you guys are doing that. I really appreciate you being on this show. My name is Danny Dumas, and this is the Earn Your Title podcast, and I will talk to you later. Bye.